Alright, so we're starting with Everlasting Summer a little bit earlier today. See if I can finish out this game as well. 2 games in one day. That would be something. Alright, so, but this specific Genya in this specific world seemed to not give a damn about who I am and what I'm doing here, and our conversation that seemed to have started to interest her had turned into useless chatter. Oh? Who do I look like? Genya swept her eyes over me. A pioneer? Yeah, sure, a pioneer. That's logical. Nice joke. I grinned strenuously. I wasn't joking. Just that I look like myself and you don't. I don't look like myself? You don't look like yourself. God. The final assault has begun. In what sense? She marveled. In the sense that you are not Genya. No, I mean, you're not the local librarian. Who am I then? She moved her eyes to the side as if looking for something on the bookshelves. I don't know, that's why I'm asking. If this is another joke... Joke? Well, you know, everyone knows already. She got embarrassed and blushed. No, I don't. With the thumbstack on my chair, I left to get a book, and while I was looking for it, Alisa... Genya stared at the floor, tears filling her eyes. I haven't heard about anything like that. Though if you think about it, something like that was happening in the previous times. Alisa decided to play a prank. Just that I paid absolutely no attention to it then. Yeah, right? That's so weird. Like he says that he's been through it all, but he says that he had paid absolutely no attention to it. So how can he claim that he has seen it all? Genya reacted differently too, I think. Alisa. Wait, where are we now? Get off me, the pioneer girl mumbled while buttoning her shirt, her tongue barely moving. The cybernetics clubs was bathed in the bright moonlight. On the table was lying an empty bottle with a tidy lake of vodka spilled around it. My cheek was burning and the head was spinning so hard I couldn't even understand why exactly. Hardly because of the alcohol alone. What is this, a flash forward? Flash backwards? She says, if you thought that I'm like that, then you can go to hell. Girl's fingers weren't listening to her. The button was jumping back and forth, but refused to go to its prescribed place. Yeah, said the pioneer. I lost my temper, grabbed the pioneer by the hands, pressed her against the table, and tore her shirt open with my teeth. Yeah, all rapey. Like what then? Like what are you then? I'm asking you. This is not a rhetorical question. Answer me. I didn't want to change anything. It all suited me. I was living my accustomed life in my accustomed world, doing what I wanted. Why the hell would I need this novelty? You want this, I know. Go swill vodka with a stranger 5 minutes after you meet him. Not like that, are you? To hell with all of you. Make everything how it was. I was losing control over myself, the situation, the world itself. Like what was this skip? Let go, it hurts, the girl was crying. But I was holding her firmly, and in a minute she went limp and closed her eyes, with only occasional hot and salty tears falling from them. Now, see, that's much better. I was roughly feeling her up everywhere, breathing rapidly and loudly at that. Because you're mine, because you're all mine, this whole world is mine. The girl wasn't resisting and I suddenly lost interest. I even felt disgust. And I don't need you. There are better ones here. I let her go and slid down to the floor, exhausted. The pioneer didn't move, only continued to sob quietly. I can have any girl here, and you hear me? And then I'll take the meat cleaver and... You think that didn't happen before? I was shouting. You think you can tell me what to do? This is my world, you hear me? You all don't even exist, I'm talking to myself. Stop whining. I lost the last bits of control over myself, jumped up and leaned all my weight on the girl. She seemed to be close to fainting already. I bent forward and whispered into her ear. You know what I've been doing to you so many times? Wanna listen? Oh no, listen now and I'll tell you. Suddenly I panicked. It has been an infinitely long time since the very beginning, but every second of it I've been living. I was aware of myself as a person. I was controlling the situation in this world and many before it. And for the first time I got a feeling that I'm disappearing. That in a moment's time I'll be gone. How can that be? It is me, don't you see? Don't you remember? You're a weakling. Oh? The girl's whisper reached me as if from another world. A pathetic weakling. A nobody. I would feel pity, but you can't pity an empty place. I jumped back from her in terror. On the pioneer's face was a frozen grimace of disgust, the tears disappearing as if they've never been there. She got up from the table, took a couple of steps forwards to me and stopped. What is happening? What is happening? I don't understand. Jenny, I think, why are you telling me all this? Jenny asked, lazily turning a page over. Ripples were running across the water. Bubbles were swaying the leaves of a birch, with bright beams of the tired midday sun shining through them. The birds were singing loudly in the grove, and the small bugs hiding in the tall grass was busily jumping on my legs. Feels like the moral of this story is happiness is not real unless it is shared. I think that is the quote. Don't quite remember though. Well, why are you reading that book? Don't tell me it's the first time. I like it. See, you like to narrate, and I'd like to read. On the other shore, on the beach, pioneers were frolicking. Olga was running after Uliana, and in the middle of the river, I distinguished Slavia's gold-colored hair. Could she be swimming here? So what? What? What happened next? I thought you weren't interested. You are, though. Genya smiled. She spat in my face and walked outside, shutting the door loudly after herself. And I was left standing there. What? Is this it? The end? At some point, I was waiting for it, maybe even with impatience. But it was so long ago that I already don't even remember. And what now? These dolls, these soulless dolls, destroyed my world that I've been building my whole life. Just like that, in one day's time. I ran my hand over my cheek and saw my finger covered with something wet. The night had long descended upon the camp, hiding the local pioneers under its cover, hiding their malice and wiliness. And I was just sitting in the cybernetics clubs, my arms folded around my knees, rocking slowly from side to side. Maybe that pioneer girl will come back now. After all, she could humiliate me more strongly, or even do something worse. But time was passing by, and it was only the singing of the night birds and chirping of the crickets getting quieter. And dawn is near too. The camp will wake up then and start living its life that had suddenly become so unfamiliar to me. Well, whatever, to hell with it. I got to my feet with some difficulty and looked at the empty bottle of vodka lying on the table. It would be nice to pass out now and wake up tomorrow as if nothing had happened. Forget about today, appear in a world that I'm used to, where the pioneer's behavior is familiar and predictable. And it all started with that little girl. She never cried before. Or maybe she did and I just never paid any attention. Even if that's true, so what? Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, we know that the Semyon has never been trustworthy narrator, right? Maybe it is him who has changed. That would make sense. What, becoming a weakling? Feel sorry for that little shit? Go down to their level? It's this disgust. I kind of felt like this disgust is part of objectivism. That's the feeling I got from it. Maybe that was just Bioshock. I don't know. His disgust for other people, right? Or other automatons. I can understand, like, yeah, I mean, he's not trustworthy. It's so annoying. Like, if he's been here for a millennia or whatever, then one would assume that one would pay attention and try everything, different permutations. But it seems like he has not been doing that. He claims that he have been, but maybe he hasn't. Oh, I have to pull myself together. I left the cybernetics club, slamming the door loudly, and breathed in the fresh night air. Strange, it didn't feel as artificial as usual. So where should I go? I guess catching up to that pioneer girl and getting revenge for the spit in the face would be worth it. I would have never forgiven such an insult before, and I won't forgive it now. Yeah, it is him who's changing, right? That is why the name is changing color as well, probably. There wasn't a single living soul in the square aside from a pioneer sitting on a bench. I paid no attention to him at first. Who knows how many retards dwell there? But he called out to me. Hey, Semyon. Who the hell are you calling Semyon, damn you? I hissed under my breath. But the pioneer wasn't calming down. You must be looking for someone. But she didn't go that way. I froze in place, but immediately turned around and quickly walked up to him. So you saw her? Of course I did. A disgusting smile appeared on his face, a grin even, a savage one, expressing only one superiority over their opponent. Spill it out then. We're not playing a guessing game here. Wait, what are you in such a rush for? Sit down, let's talk calmly for a start. I have nothing to talk to you about. The pioneer thought for a moment, then rummaged in the pockets of his shorts, took out a pack of Cosmos and held it out to me. Want some? This... Where did you get it? I don't remember regular pioneers having cigarettes. Although so much has happened in the last 24 hours that has never happened before. I slowly drew out one cigarette and gave the pack back to the strange pioneer. He turned it around in his hands for a while and then tossed it back to me. Nah, take it, I quit. And then that filthy smile again. To hell with it though, I need to catch that insolent bitch. So, tell me, where did she go? Why do you need that poor little girl? She's significantly small on the scale of the universe, and maybe doesn't even exist in this one. He thought for a moment and then continued. Same goes for you, are you sure that you exist? Even if so, that your existence here and now is the real one? Maybe you really existed before and now you don't. Or you will exist in the future and at the moment it's just a doll standing before me. The word doll fired painfully in my head as if a .45 caliber Colt blew my brains out, splattering the contents of the brain pan over the area. Yeah, and it's Slavia's turn to clean tomorrow. I involuntarily smirked inside. Who are you? The insolent girl that had spat in my face had long flown out of my head together with my brain. Who are you? I'm asking you. I grabbed him by the neckerchief and jerked him towards me with such strength that the damn red rag groaned and almost tore. Again, this is breaking the rules from the other playthroughs. In all the other playthroughs, the Semians never interacted physically with each other. She even, Julia even said it was impossible, but here we go. But the pioneer only smiled. Calm down, don't worry that much. It's impossible to die here, you should know. You've done that hundreds of times. I jumped back from him in terror. This phrase. I've certainly heard it before. No, not even that, I've been saying it myself. A long time ago in one of my previous lives. Because you are Semyon. And I'm Semyon, because you are me. The bench and the pioneer abruptly zoomed 100 meters away from me, as if I was falling from a roller coaster. Only his disgusting grin remained before my eyes. And then the world around was covered in darkness. Well, and then I disappeared. Just like that. Jenna kept her eyes fixed on the book, but the story seemed to start to interest her. It's interesting how much the music is helping out with the shifting of the mood. Why not? The timely departure is a great skill, you know? And I'm a master of it, if anything. Yeah, you're a master of everything. She put the book down and hugged me. Slavia, who was clearly swimming in our direction, seemed to notice it and turned around towards the beach. Wait, I didn't even get to the main part. I'm not here, after all. I shyly turned away from her. Jenny clearly didn't like that and moved away from me. I'm tired of these stories of yours. They're always all one and the same. Let me tell you one of mine for a change. Oh yes, yes. And what about, I wonder? Like how I got here, for example. I've heard it 100 times already. And I've heard yours 200. For Eugenia, Savionok didn't start with our meeting and the checklist. Because I always had. have and always will have my first day of the session after she has already spent a week in the camp. Nice. Do you know that feeling when time has stopped? When you can't die even if you really want to? Well, yeah, like here in this camp. No, it was always easier for me here. People behave more honestly, properly. No one really bullies anyone. There's none of, at the very least, that malice that was everywhere then, before. Do you remember? I didn't answer. I can just read books, talk to people. Someone needs me, someone considers me a friend. I have responsibilities. It seemed like Shenya was ready to burst into tears. Alright, why am I getting... Anyway, this one time I just woke up because of the excessive shaking of the 410 bus. Have you ever taken that bus? I nodded. Well, I never did. We don't even have bus routes with three digits in our town. I didn't really understand what had happened yet, and the girl sitting next to me said to me, "Hi, my name is Slavia." Slavia? What's Slavia? Slavia who? Of course I was confused, tried not to show it. Then we arrived at the camp and things started to get stirred up. And then it happened again, and then again. Shenya sighed. I've seen you many times. You with Slavia, Elisa, Lena. She quietly gritted her teeth. But that wasn't me. We've been over that 100 times already. And now you're starting again. You, not you. You're all like peas in a pod. I was in your camps too, right? But she was not at all like the real me. Exactly. Distinguish the original from the fake is not as hard as you think. Yes, because the fakes get renewed every time and the originals stay. It's not like that at all. As if you know everything. What does it matter? I hugged Shenya tight and closed my eyes. I woke up covered in sweat, my heart beating like mad. The rising sun was unbearably hot, though it was no later than 6 or 7 a.m. by the looks of it. What the hell happened to me? The sinister pioneer, what was that? Maybe it was all just a dream, a hallucination. Right now, I'm ready to believe in that. Anything at all. Someone was slowly walking towards me across the square. I stared and recognized the camp leader. So you're at it again, she said threateningly, leaning over me. That made me get up from the bench and make a step back. And here I thought yesterday was just a misunderstanding, and I'm speechless. To do something like that to a girl. What was she even talking about? What girl? What does she need from me, damn it? At least the camp leader looked like usual. That calmed me down a little bit. So, answer me now. You think you'll just get away with it this time? I'll call the police. I'll even take it to the secretary of the All-Union Chromosol Organization. She was puffing so much, she even went red and started to pant. In my camp, you... In general, this behavior from the camp leader didn't surprise me one bit. But I felt uneasy because my mind was still returning to the events of the past night, leaving a depressing, painful feeling close to embarrassment about something done while in a drunken haze. The strangest thing was that I didn't care about the camp leader shouting aloud a mere meter away from me. Shut up already, okay? Shouting like that, like there's a fire. What do you even know about your problems? You think you've got a problem here? Oh? Oh? Pioneer was almost raped. What a disaster. I grit my teeth and cast a menacing look at the camp leader that sent a flicker of fear across her face. How about I tell you about real problems, not those in your imaginary little world? Though, just go to hell, you're a waste of time. On the other hand, I always have more than enough time. That frightful thought suddenly flashed through my head. What if everything will always be like this now? What if I lose control over this world forever? Any pioneer girl will be able to spit in my face at will, and the camp leader will get to lecture me like electronic. But that's worse than death. Anyway, I gotta go. I flung at the camp leader, who was still hadn't recovered from the shock, and I went wherever my legs would carry me. But really, what is death for me personally? It seems like I've long since ceased to understand the very concept of the idea. Because if I can't disappear, if I'm destined to live through the very same week in this damned camp time and time again, then maybe death is losing myself. Losing my power over this world, having uncertainty ahead. But that's even worse than the fate of any regular human. Their life is a game with an unhappy ending and with no ability to save your progress. That's one perspective. My life is a game with no ending, with the ability to save. What would they call such a life? If only I could remember how is it to be a regular man? They would probably call this hell. Well, I would say that he has created a hell. Like the hell is all in his mind, right? And this particular cycle, where even the soulless dolls humiliate me, is its last circle. I was ready to lose my mind, if only I could. All the thoughts that I'd been diligently driving away from myself suddenly surged with a new strength, returning long-forgotten feelings. And who turned out to be right in the end? I was always convincing myself that I am right, not them, because I am alive and they disappeared while chasing empty illusions. But they disappeared and I stayed. Yeah, like our simians disappeared right there. There has been many simians disappearing. And who got the better part of it in the end? Hehe. An already familiar snicker sounded nearby. Looks like you've understood something today. I know who you are. My voice sounded calm, but the heart was beating madly like never before. Oh, really? It would be interesting to hear. You are the same as me, a pioneer, but from another cycle. But didn't you always think that the others were no more simian? Were no more after Simian drove off on the bus that time? Oh yeah, this is after the bus, yeah. You thought that you were alone now in these endless camps? Oh, he thought he was alone. I could be wrong. As hard as it was for me to admit it, that possibility existed. You wrong? Why, that cannot be. Whatever. What do you need? Did you just come to mock me for what I've been doing before? You're saying that as if you feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. And anyway, that's none of your business. Just answer the question. Well, maybe you're right, the pioneer thought for a moment. Though it's a sin to laugh at the miserable. He suddenly felt a distinct desire to punch that disgusting smile off his face. After all, am I a trembling creature, or do I have that right? Do I have the right? Who allowed him to impose his ways in my world? This is so weird. Why bring up the antagonist? What's the point of the antagonist? Or is it just him hallucinating himself? It is him changing, and he's splitting. He's splitting away from one part of his personality, maybe. I don't know. Get lost. I shouted, jumped up and swung my fist at him as hard as I could, but my hand just flew through a haze that disappeared in the air, and I lost my balance, painfully falling to the ground. When the pain abated a bit, I felt as if someone was standing nearby. And indeed, from the bushes was peeping a sassy little pioneer girl. You got what you deserved. She stuck her tongue out. I guess you're not as brave with your peers. Oh, you. It was so unexpected that I even forgot what I wanted to say. Doesn't it surprise you that at all that a man just dissolved into thin air right in front of you? Well, things happen. Maybe it's some trick. It doesn't matter anyways. You got what you had coming. Not wanting to put up with these insults any longer, I abruptly jumped up and rushed at her. But the girl was skillfully running through the trees while I had to spend precious seconds dodging the branches that slashed at my face. Hillocks sticking out, as well as invisible gullies. Earning a couple of bumps and scratching my hands bloody, I finally caught her at the square. What, not so fast after all, are you? It's not as easy running from some half-wits. Let me go, get off! The pioneer girl was crying. Suddenly I felt a strong blow to my back. Everything swam before my eyes, and the ground came at me with tremendous speed. So you're into children too? There we go. Oh, good morning and good evening, Banana Waffle Monkey. Nice to see you again. How are you doing today? Still headhunting? So you're into children too? I think you missed the ending of BioShock. Oh, hello, Furcha. Nice to see you as well again. How are you doing today? That's it. Get him. Said the pioneer girl. That's Slavia, right? With the yellow name. Banana Waffle Monkey says, did the PoE equivalent of buying a lottery ticket, winning, buying a lottery ticket, winning, buying a lottery ticket, winning. Wait. Are you talking about in general, or did that happen today again? Furcha said, I forget. Is it main story or some mode already? It's some mode. This is the final ending, pioneer story. Like, we have finished the main story. This is DLC, the extra, the red named pioneer, the dude who likes torture. So this is the final ending that I'm going through, and then we're starting the next game. Banana Waffle Monkey says, I've found about 12 raw exalts and a cortex. I don't know what a cortex is. It says, I found a harvest craft that lets you pick let you put in a stack of fossils, and it will output another random stack of fossils that may be the same size or smaller. Cortex is a re-exalted unique map. Oh, we've talked about that before. I'm just bad at names. With Genya, I guess. Yes, exactly. Virtua. With Genya, it's the Genya ending. We're playing the Genya ending. Last ending. The guy who got stuck that didn't follow along on the bus in the other ending. Yeah, and this ending is... the Julia ending is canon, right? I think so. Both endings are canon. All the endings are canon in this ending. Turned to 20 frigid fossils into 10 fractured fossils. Sold for 20 exalts? Oof! And vault 3 pairs of 5 implicit hands of the High Templars. 3 pairs? 5 implicit. That's crazy. So have you bought a real life ticket? Like a lottery ticket? As well? Nah, says Banana Waffle Monkey. That's it. Get him! And they beat the crap out of Semyon. A blow to the belly. I instinctively covered my head with my arms. Not so cool now, are you? Oh, right, it's all of them. Another hit. By that point I was ready to lose consciousness, but gathering the last bits of strength I raised myself onto my elbows and rolled several meters to the side. Blood was flowing into my eyes, turning the crowd of pioneers beating me up into a continuous red haze. This is, of course, not the best educational method, but quite an effective one, I think, said the camp leader. From who the hell knows where came the camp leader's voice. What are you doing? Enough! Did you read Don... Oh, fuck. Am I supposed to be able to pronounce that? Quixote? Don Quixote. I did not read that myself, no. He probably did. Genya was sitting near me, merrily swinging her feet. Yeah, but I hardly remember what it was about now. Windmills. All of your stories are like fights with windmills. What mills, please? And even if there is no mill, you will surely build one, cause you just fight something. You're saying that if I'm some kind of masochist. Oh, that's insightful of her. Like, if this was hell, if the red pioneer or whatever, the red Semyon, like, if he felt that he was in hell, it was a hell of his own creation, right? And she's having the same view as me on the matter. Aren't you? She smiled slyly. Genya, what would I do without her? Sometimes I thought that everything that has happened with me in this camp wasn't that bad if this reward was awaiting me at the end. I pulled her to myself and kissed her. Wait. What if someone sees? Genya blushed and resisted, but more for show if anything. It doesn't concern you often. No, but anyway, where was I? The windmills? Yeah, I mean, no. I meant But you still can't settle down, like if you had ridden that bus that time like all the normal people. And wouldn't have met you. As if you'd been meeting me before, as Slavia, Lisa, Lena. She griped. See, that means I've done everything right. To hell with you, alpha male with a harem, my foot. Let's stop talking about the past. We've got a whole life ahead of us. Like, they have got to be, like, quite recently met. I'm thinking. Like, if she is jealous of those other girls, that means they gotta be, like, quite newly in love, right? They have crushes still on each other. Because I'm thinking if they are living this and reliving the camp, the both of them together, they will start doing some weird shit in the end, right? Not like him, like he went mad and started torturing people. But I'm thinking like jealousy for getting your rocks off in some way different from the usual ways wouldn't be an issue when you live for hundreds and thousands of years. I don't think. I can't imagine that. Like, at some point you start leaving jealousy behind and start becoming experimental. Right? I think. Like, that's what happened to him. He just went down a torture experiment path. Maybe they will go down a more friendly path. Hey, you alive? The cold water splashing onto my face with difficulty I managed to open my bunged up eye. Over me was leaning a pioneer. You again. No, it's not the same one. He has blue now instead of grey, white. You again. What, they didn't finish me off, so you decided to help. Well, go ahead then. Get on with it. Somewhere deep inside, I was even happy for such a turn of events. Finally, this broken, vicious circle will be torn apart. No, you don't understand. I'm not... Exactly. I'm not him. Who are you then? I didn't care already. It would be so nice to die now, to end this loop and go on to a new one. I guess never before did I want so hard for the endless cycle of my life to continue. Yeah, it's like I said the other day, it's like of course it feels weird, like if everything you've known for 1,000 years and then the rug just gets pulled out of you, it's gotta be difficult to deal. Even though it is what you really want, right? You get used to stuff. You start getting your routines. Don't want them to be broken. The only important thing is for them to obey the long-established rules. Don't you understand? Pioneer said with anguish. No, I don't play these games anymore. Really, did they decide to place me in the shoes of that idiot? Is this some kind of game and I'm a green noob for them? Not on my server. And anyway, I don't care. Tried to get up, but the pain made me just moan and lean against the nearby trunk. Although, if I'll have to spend 5.5 more days in this damned loop, I will obviously have to make certain compromises. Like, I've been thinking about that. About time. Time is so interesting. There are many different ways to... look at age, right? We got biological age, we got swings around the sun, we got maturity, we've got, like I'm talking about an individual's age now. We got the experience of time. There is this idea, I don't know how valid it is, but it's very convincing that since a year of my life now is a certain percentage, right? It's how old am I? 34? It's 1/34th, 1/35th of my lifetime. When I was 10, it was a 10th of my life, right? So a year is, just by numbers, longer in comparison. It's a very convincing idea. That is one of the reasons why years feels shorter the older we get. But then we also have the experiences, right? If the best way to live longer is to have as many new and unfamiliar experiences, right? Because those memories come longer. Like when looking back, those stick out in memory. They become a real more time. Like or if your every day looks the same, your life when you're looking back at it becomes shorter because they all blend together and just mix and match. And so for him, this is like, maybe he has been moving through loops all looking the same and they all blend together. Because if I have to spend 5.5 more days, like even if this is weird for him, 5.5 days should be nothing. Right? It should be nothing. Like, even though we have, like, this is what he wanted, right? He wanted stuff to change. Even though they changed for a way that he can't deal with. I don't know. It's difficult to talk. Like, it's only hypotheticals, right? It's only speculation since, well, I only have the 30 years. I have no idea what 1,000 years would look like. Okay, I don't care who you are or why you're here, but if you really want to help, I won't refuse. Nice. If he really is the one he wants to look like, then I can expect help. Then I can expect help from him. Yes, of course. Bring me something to drink, then. The pioneer quickly jumped up and disappeared behind the trees. Did he run to the canteen? What a dumbass. The time was dragging treacherously slow. I lost the phone, either during the fight or even before that, so I couldn't tell how much time has passed since the moment the pioneer ran for the water. But in any case, he should have been back already. My injuries were hurting unbearably. It seemed like I was starting to get a fever. Could that be an infection? I could simply die. It could at least have beaten me to death. But no, I have to lie here and wait for the end in agony. Just you wait. Next time I'll show you all. The fear of death ceased to exist for me, simply because one can only fear something that scares him. In my case, death would be a salvation. Though I could hardly believe that. More likely the next time everything will repeat itself, which means I'll have to struggle, I'll have to fight for myself, for my life. Same as the first times. To do everything to not become a whiner and a snot-nose like that one. Barely managing to get up on my feet, I stumbled towards the camp. It was getting dark. I should have probably asked the pioneer what happened after I lost consciousness during the beating at the square. Maybe they're looking for me? Or they think I'm already dead. In any case, I should be careful. Yeah, they just threw him out into the forest. That's kind of weird, but they didn't bury him, so... Very strange. Right now, the various skills obtained during the time spent in all these endless loops would be useful. But a one-handed, one-legged cripple hardly makes a good fighter. At a glance, the square looked empty. No pioneers, no birds, none of the squirrels that plentifully inhabited the forest around the camp. And the air was ringing with a dangerous silence, like the lull before a fight, or like a mine field bypassed by both people and beasts. Take a step and you'll be blown to pieces. If only it was really so easy. But I can't just stand and wait. I have to get to the infirmary, wash and bandage my wounds, drink a painkiller and antibiotics. I didn't understand. I think I missed his logic. Why did he have to fight for survival? I think that was like a post hoc thing. Instinct, like just human instinct kicking in, fighting for survival. And he just not being able to control it like he probably have done thousands of times. The first steps through the square were difficult to take. Oh? Oh man, never mind. First steps through the square were difficult to take, more because of the oppressive tension than my battle wounds. I somehow dragged myself to the end of it, walked along the narrow path, reached the infirmary, and had already started to mess with the lock when suddenly I heard a familiar rustle in the bushes nearby. Familiar rustle, eh? It's a human rustle. That is why it was familiar. Certainly, that is not a beast or a bird. That's a human. You want to calm down, Skywalker? Though I understood well that the rampaging pioneers won't hide themselves, they act openly now. Nope. Not on the keyboard. I don't know who's hiding there. But you better get out or else... Or else what? What can you do? Or else what? Yeah, exactly. Or else what? In this condition, I can hardly even pose more of a threat than that arrogant little girl. It's just me. Oh, it's Lena. Wonder how she will be in this. We didn't see her beating him up. She's crazy. The shy pioneer almost whispered, coming out of her cover. Oh, it's you? I asked sarcastically. Alone, and where are the others? Though yes, you alone will be sufficient. No, I can go if I'm disturbing you. Say, things can't get any worse anyway. I was vainly messing with the lock. Of course, it wasn't hard for me to pick it with even a toothpick or a match. But for that I needed healthy fingers, while mine were all covered with hematomas and bruises, their every second joint dislocated. The most complicated action I am capable of now is holding a pioneer flag and idly swinging it over my head. A dumb pastime on its own, but the local pioneers can make me do worse. Maybe I can help. How? With moral support? I've got a key. She stopped mid-sentence and held out a bunch of keys to me. Oh. Yes, I didn't expect something like this, but wasn't really surprised. I had other things on my mind. I took them from Slavia. Just like that? You want to tell me she gave them to you without even asking what you needed them for? Well, I said I don't feel very well and I didn't want to bother her, so I could go to the infirmary by myself. Ah, great pretexts. Slyness, archness, and pretense. They say that behind every strong man stands a strong woman. Who says that? I've heard it many times, but... Don't they say successful man stands a strong woman? Isn't that kind of sexist as well? I haven't heard it in such a long time, so I kind of feel like society's just decided, well, that's a sexist point of view, isn't it? And just stopped using it. Can't remember the last time. It's got to be many, many years. And every strong man stands a strong woman. I mean, it's obviously not true. There has to be people who is like, well, it even says strong man. Like, there are probably bodybuilders who are gay and whatnot, and maybe doesn't have a partner. I don't know. I remembered about the second pack of Cosmos that the Pioneer had gifted to me. The cigarette had turned out to be considerably crumped, but I still managed to find a couple intact ones. Good for you. Okay, the keys will be really useful. That was smart of you. Thank you. The girl smiled almost unnoticeably. What if she really isn't hiding a knife behind her back? Exactly, what if she isn't? She's been crazy all over the place, right? Maybe this is her chance? Where are these thoughts even coming from, though? The presumption of innocence had never worked in this world so far, and especially now, deeming everyone around you hostile a priori, would be the most correct thing to do. Priori? No, I don't think so. Like, this isn't a priori. This is, like, he can't say that it's a priori after he's been beaten up. That's not what it's not what the words mean, dude. Holy shit. It's like using fancy words just to be fancy, but not understanding the fancy words. Your cat demands attention. Yes, he does. Does indeed. He's putting his hand on the keyboard all the time as well, so I have to. He needs his cuddles. I carefully look the girl up and down. What, is there something wrong with me? Can you just lie down and be calm? Like so? Isn't that fine? Good. There's something wrong with me. I just don't even know. You better tell me. Is everything right with you or not? I don't understand you. Pioneer girl was clearly embarrassed and upset. Oh well, she's at least pretending to be good. I should use it. It will be hard to bandage all my wounds by myself with unbending arms. Don't mind it, if you really do want to help. The infirmary was brightly illuminated by the fluorescent lamps hanging from the ceiling. With some difficulty, I clambered onto the couch and tried to take my shirt off. Let me help. Okay, go on. On the right and left sides around my belly were reddening, terrible-looking patches of bruises. I must have broken several ribs, or maybe it's the other way around, and only a few of them remained unbroken. Every moment echoed with pain inside. Ugh, can't you be more careful? Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. The pioneer started to undress me, zealously even. Finally, I was left in only my shorts. Wait, we have to wipe the wounds with iodine. Iodine, disinfect them. Yeah, sure, so I would look like a brown bear? No thanks. Let's do it with hydrogen peroxide. It's in the desk drawer. The pioneer didn't argue. Though hydrogen peroxide or iodine, it still stings the same. I had to make an inhuman effort not to shout out loud. Does it hurt? Like inhuman effort? Wasn't it a human effort? Quite literally. What do you think? I hissed through clenched teeth. Then the pioneer started to bandage me. Every time she had to grab the bondage on the other side, she was almost pressing herself against me. Here, Lena said with the feeling of duty well done. She's overacting, a thought flashed in my head. Yes, that's better. Not that I really felt better, rather I was just more certain that I will be almost healed no later than tomorrow. But that will be tomorrow. I tried to get up to walk to the drug cabinet, but my head suddenly started spinning and I had to sit on the couch again. Get me an Algin and well, that. Did I really forget the contents of the local medicine chest? I raised my hand to my forehead. It was hot. Something for the tetanus. I don't know. It's written there in the instructions. The girl bustled about and soon returned with a pile of multicolored pills. What is that? Like you asked. I was taking a risk, of course, but it clearly couldn't get any worse. Oh? Couldn't it? Hasn't he been torturing people to death? How can he fail to imagine how stuff can get worse? And water to wash it down. Swallowed the pills and barely managed to stretch myself out on the couch. The pioneer girl sat on the chair nearby and started to look at me patiently. What does she need after all? The suspense was tiring. I just wanted to sleep, to drift off and forget about this mad world for at least some time. Or better yet, wake up in another one. Let them end what they've begun and finish me off, or this shy girl. And how long are you planning on sitting here? I'm disturbing you, I can leave. No, you're not. Suddenly in my head appeared a wild but not senseless idea. You can even help. The girl gave me an inquiring look. Take that jar, see? Barely raised my hand and pointed at the needed medicine. Now draw a full syringe from it. You mean you're serious about it? Jenya's face was burning and her voice sounded not even surprised. Scared. What? No, you must really be out of your mind. It's a big deal, even in the worst case. The new loop is in a couple of days. No one will even remember about it. I will. That's enough already. So your answer is no? My answer is stop bullying me. She tried to get up, but I firmly caught her by the hands. Hey! Instead of trying to break free, Jenya laughed and pressed herself against me. Are you really not joking? What if we do get out of here after all? You haven't talked about that for a while. I haven't, but now I am. If in the real world you expect just to forget and pretend that you haven't said anything now, then wait. If in the real world you expect to just forget and pretend you haven't said anything now, then no, both here and in the real world my words are sincere. Even so, it's just hard to believe so suddenly. What's sudden about it? How long have we known each other? I've long since lost count of the loops. I'm still counting though, Jenya said quietly and hugged me even tighter. Nope. What was his idea? What the fuck was that about? Why can't we know? What was he asking? No, not like that. Don't do that. Stop. The girl obediently filled the syringe with the colorless, transparent liquid and handed it to me. No, when did you ever see a patient giving himself injections? But I don't know how to. There's nothing difficult about it. It's just that for me in this world there was still the one and only taboo. The one and only taboo, suicide. Oh? I had gotten the... Oh, fuck, there's cat hair everywhere. Seems like his fur seems to think that winter is over. Holy shit. Yep. Living with fur for a bit now, eh? Wonder if that's why he wants so much cuddles now, just to get rid of all this crap. Yeah, I had got the feeling that he had committed suicide many times over. But no, he says that it's just for me in this world, there's still the one and only taboo, suicide. Why is it? I wonder why. I was ready and even wanted to die at the hands of mad pioneers or lethal injection, but ending my own life. For some reason it seemed that I shouldn't. Couldn't even explain why and never tried to check. Again, it's the mind controlling stuff. He has some rules that he has to follow and some subconscious implantations. Like Arsemion had to break free from in the Julia ending. Had to break free from those rules as well. Maybe it was all because of that fear of uncertainty that had possessed me in the past 24 hours. Or maybe it's all much simpler and the reason is the simple self-preservation instinct. Yeah, it could be that as well. Regardless, I was sure that if I'm killed by someone else, I will immediately wake up in a new loop. But ready for everything now. The only problem was the fact that the girl clearly wasn't going to help me with my voluntary quietus. I don't know what that means. No, what if I do something wrong? It's better to call the nurse. I'll go. I'll be back soon. The nurse was the last damn needed thing right here. Wait. I barely raised myself up on an elbow and grabbed her by the hand. Don't you worry, I've done it hundreds of times. I'll teach you. There's nothing difficult about it. The girl wavered. First take the tourniquet. Wait, what? Why would she need a tourniquet? It's used when taking blood. Okay, don't take the tourniquet. The pioneer girl laid the tourniquet on the table near me. I moved my left hand to the side to make it more convenient for her. Maybe we shouldn't after all. I won't even feel anything. Her hands were shaking, the needle jumping left and right. If she misses the vein, it won't be pretty. Euthanasia through the drugs from a Soviet medical kit is a precarious pleasure as is. Don't look at me like that, the girl suddenly said. I'm looking at you. How? Don't get distracted. I can't do it like this. Oh, here we go. I made a helpless sigh and jerked my hand away from her. Okay, forget it. I'll just sleep and it'll be all right tomorrow. Don't forget to turn the lights off and close the door when you leave. The girl obediently headed towards the exit, but froze halfway. Are you really in a lot of pain? I really am. What does it matter now? I'll just endure it. I could do it, only if you close your eyes. So if I close them, will that change? It'll be easier for me, like you're sleeping. She's so crazy. Her eyes smiled. Okay, I'll close them. It doesn't seem to be anything scary. The girl walked up to me and took the syringe. So? Yes. I closed my eyes, and at the same second a thought flashed through my brain. Why am I even trusting her so blindly? Just half an hour ago, when standing on the porch, I was thinking very differently. Something pressed me to the couch with a strength that made me unable to move my arms or legs. This bitch. Pioneer girl with the tourniquet with her hand leaned over me. A second later, it tightened around my neck. What are you? I wheezed. Even if this is the death I was urging for, it shouldn't be like this. Not being strangled with a tourniquet. No, wait, I'm not ready. The pioneer was pulling even harder, a mad grimace on her face. Mouth grinning, a devilish smile, sunken eyes, opened wide and even seeming to glow with some unnatural light. I vainly tried to break free. The injuries and fatigue didn't let me. Here comes the anoxemia. Everything is getting blurry in front of my eyes. I closed them, but the imprint of that crazy grimace still left on the inner side of my eyelids. At the edge of my mind, I hear the creak of the opening door. The devilish pioneer loosens her grip, and the face of another girl is already leaning over me. Oh? Let's go, now! A familiar voice whispered to me. Oh? Someone helped me to get up. I leaned on them and I stumbled away from the infirmary. That's so weird. Wasn't Slavia one of the one kicking him and all that stuff? I'm pretty sure. Well, this is it. We had a flash forward from this earlier. I don't quite remember what happened then. Yeah, breathe loudly. Indeed. Banana waffle monkey. Yeah, it's like we've seen all these pictures. You're running and you're breathing heavily. There's nowhere left to run. Yeah, we're here. We were going slowly, often stumbling and bumping into everything. I was passing out and coming to all the time, but I just couldn't raise my head and was only looking at my feet. The paving stone in front of the infirmary gave way to the asphalt of the square and then to the earth, covered by fallen leaves and fir needles. At last we stopped, and with difficulty I sank to the ground and looked around. Seems like the same clearing that the pioneer dragged me to. I'm walking in some hellish circles today. I tried to smirk but coughed immediately. The back of my hand got covered in blood. Here, drink. The girl handed me a cold flask. I barely took several gulps and looked at my savior. She seemed to be the same familiar girl, but something was out of tune with her usual image. After all, a smile suited this pioneer girl more than the expression of cold determination that was frozen on her face. I didn't even really know what to say. I've already been mistaken once about that maniac in the infirmary and let myself relax for a second. Now I'm going to have to be wary till the end this time. Though the unbearable pain in my whole body and my spinning head didn't let me concentrate even for a moment. What's this all? Shh, no need to talk, you'll get worse. I know it all. The girl said and looked at me carefully, as if, contrary to her own words, she was waiting for an answer. Wait, what? I know everything about you. I'm actually also real. How the damned hell are you real? We already met yesterday. I haven't noticed anything real about you. Coughed up blood again. Is this one of your jokes again? I continued quieter. You can't just kill me. Can't, right? You have to torture, to mock me. Want me to go mad? He has already gone mad. Part of me feels that he deserves the torture, but then on the other part of me says, well, deserve? What the fuck does that mean? There is no deserve in this world. Want to see him suffer. There we go. Parts of me want to see him suffer because he's such a dick. And then I realized that all of this has already happened once. Though now our roles were swapped. No, it's not like that at all. You got it wrong. You weren't talking to me yesterday. Oh, why am I explaining? It's not like you don't understand yourself. The pioneer girl frowned. Didn't you ever meet your own copies? There definitely was logic in her words that I couldn't find a flaw in right away. Well, maybe. And why do you need all this? To help me, I mean. Because you're the same as me, real. Isn't it natural? Wouldn't you do the same in my place? If only she knew what I had done before. But what if she isn't lying? After all, I did meet people other than me in this world before. Thanks, if so. The girl didn't answer anything, only smiled. But I still don't understand, how did you... I've met you 1,000 times before, and all of them were bots. It's hard to explain, and there's no time now. No time? Are you in a hurry or something? Not only me. Soon we will all escape here. You mean from this loop to a new one? No, I mean from this camp for good. What do you mean? I broke into a dumb smile. The very thought of there being an exit from this place had seemed absurd to me for a long time now. Don't tell me you want to stay here forever. Well, I've kind of been here forever already. I propose, you reject. Okay. No, wait, you just got me wrong. Why wrong, actually? Am I really ready to get back to the real world? It's alien and hostile to me now, as this camp has become my home. But that home lies in ruins, robbed and burnt. Will I be able to build it anew? Yeah? So what do you want then? Okay, but how? You don't propose, I just take your word for it, right? If you really understand my situation, you won't refuse to explain. Fine, but not now. We have to make sure there's no pursuit. Wait. But the pioneer wasn't listening to me, and a second later she disappeared in the vivid greenery. Just wonderful. But I can't sew. What a pity, a serious oversight on our housekeeper's side. Oh, look who's talking. What are you gonna make the rings from? There we go. Are you maybe planning on just reeling the wire from the induction coil around your finger? I've got a couple of ideas. Well, I'm listening. Jenna looked at me carefully and smiled, anticipating my failure. However, even before I met her, I had acquired some very different skills, and crafting together a couple of rings wouldn't be very hard for me. The only question is the equipment. Can't find a jeweler's instructions in the camp. So I simply wouldn't have had time to prepare everything in a mere week. If not for the Cybernetics Club. If you rummage through the bulk of the equipment stored there, you could definitely find enough gilding for 2 simple rings. And keeping the local cybernetics occupied with something for a couple of days will certainly not be a problem, especially considering it's not the first time for me. That's a surprise. Even so, Jenny got embarrassed. In a week's time, they'll disappear. You know we won't be able to take anything with us. So what? What's more important to you, 2 pieces of metal or... No, of course not. But if we're going to do it... But if we are going to do it the way it should be done, the dress too... Jenny's eyes sparkled. There were no problems with the suit. I knew for sure that several guys in the camps have pants and a jacket and maybe dark gray color. Maybe even of dark gray color. A summer dress would look good on Xenia, but the wedding dress was her idea in the end, which she predictably rejected right away. You Tully? Are you serious? Looks like she got tired of arguing already. No, but you can always ask one of the girls. I think that's the best option. Xenia grew red, pouted and turned away. Then go ask them yourself and take measurements of yourself, cause you'll be the one wearing it. Nice. How do you even imagine I could do that? I'll just walk up, say Slavia and ask her, could you please sew a wedding dress for me? How about you say that it's for a costume contest? No, that's kind of silly. For a costume ball. Jenny was surprised, but didn't start arguing right away. I'll get the idea through the camp leader, don't worry. And there will be nothing to be shy about. The wedding as a part of the performance will make Shurik and Electronic perform man's first walk in outer space. Miku will cosplay Lenin or an armored car. And me and you will marry. And what historical event do you want to make this a reenactment of? God. What does it matter? Could it even be the marriages of Ekaterina II and Peter III? Ooh, what an inevitable fate is waiting for you then, darling. Oh, damn it, I don't know that history. Genya smirked. No matter, it's just an example. See, you're joking already. Still, that somehow... Trust me. Okay, if you think it'll all work out. It started to dawn. The fever made its presence known and seemed to get even stronger. Apparently, the real pioneer girl got lost somewhere in the forest. Looks like I've been ditched again. Though I wasn't too hopeful this time, I just wanted to get everything back to the way it was, not come back to reality. Is he still fighting that? That's kind of weird though. Would have assumed that he was like warming up to the idea of change by now. Maybe it's only been an hour on the other side, maybe centuries, it doesn't matter anymore. I felt like a comatose man who wakes up and can't recognize the world around him. The horizon was burning with a bright scarlet glow, showering the sky with a flaming aurora. What if it wasn't just the inhabitants that had changed this world? In a mere few minutes, the beams of the blazing sun will get here and burn me up, together with this whole damn Sovionok. I wish the real pioneer girl would come back. It is better to settle in a new world than to burn in alive in a familiar one. More so because nobody there will know about everything that happened with me here. About everything I did myself. You seem to be deep in thought about something. A familiar voice sounded nearby. My voice. What do you want? I was surprised by his appearance, and even scared a bit. I had enough problems with the maddened pioneers and had stopped even think about my doubles. Although my doubles? How long has it been since I called them that? Right, for me there was always me and they were them. We have nothing in common, we are different people, even if we were one at some point. Maybe you're thinking, when did it all go wrong? Here he was mistaken, I wasn't thinking about that. Tormenting yourself with doubts, asking yourself questions you'll never find answers to. I just want all this to be over, and your presence is hardly helping with that. Everything is long over, if you mean it that way. Oh, really? That's not particularly noticeable. For everyone but you. That day in the bus, you made the worst wrong decision and died. I looked over my body carefully. It hurts, which means I'm alive. I don't look much like a dead man. You think it's really all that simple? That movie-like? Do you want to remember the moment when the life left you? Remember your last breath? The point of transition? The first moments on the new level of existence? I don't really get you. And that means that I've already died, then in reality? No, you've been given a chance, but you didn't use it and ended up in your own personal hell. Limbo, if you wish. Oh, look at you reinventing the wheel, as if I didn't know that. You knew that, but you didn't know that you're alone here now, and there's no exit. I knew that, or at least I'd assumed so. So what about you then? I'm not here. I'm just your hallucination. The forest resounded with his disgusting laughter. This is all painfully familiar, but why is it repeating itself now? Is it true when they say that troubles never come singly? Singly? Be my guest. I closed my eyes and even turned away to be sure. Don't treat him like that. He's one of us too, or at least he was once. The familiar voice sounded a bit different. Now 2 pioneers were standing in the clearing in front of me. You have to fight fire with fire. He's already been through enough fighting. I would say it isn't enough yet. They were arguing and the reality lost all its meaning to me. Look, he's lost his mind for good already. That's nothing special, it'll pass. Like in that story that we told Juliana. Signed, with the name of a non-existent friend. The mad regain their sanity and the sane go mad. And then that devilish laughter again. You think this is his first time, isn't it? I know for sure that it isn't. He thinks he remembers everything. He's ready for everything. He knows the behavior of every pioneer beforehand. But he forgot so much. Maybe he forgot the most important thing. Enough already! These 2 suddenly stepped aside and the cat-eared one came forward. I was always kind of wary of her because I thought that there was nothing good to expect from her. Moreover, somewhere deep inside of me, she was some kind of animalistic primal fear, like the fear of the dark. And I never believed her stories either. Like that she's our subconscious, its hidden part. What nonsense. Don't you see how bad off she is? You're no use. Like you, she pointed at her finger at the evil pioneer. Hurry up to the infirmary for pills. What pills? He was a bit startled. I don't know, aren't you the smartest one here? Figure it out. The pioneer sighed helplessly and dragged himself off in the direction of the camp. And you, she looked at the good one. And you, well, find something to do. Honestly, your whining is sickening. It only makes things worse. But I only wanted to help. But you're not helping, so go. She waved her hand and made an expression that made thought flashed through my head, just like a grumpy cat. The pioneer didn't argue and followed his double. So what now? I asked without much enthusiasm. I've been tricked more than once, and I'm not going to believe her now. Especially her. I would never have thought that of all the local inhabitants, it would be the cat-eared one to come to help me. Even if only in words. After all, she remembers the previous times, remembers our quarrel in the bus. You think you'll be able to make an idiot of me again? Gathering the last bits of strength, I raised myself, my eyes darkening from pain. But where will I go? I should have taken the syringe myself. Why did I even decide that suicide here is the end? Hey! The cat-eared one jumped to my side with one leap and then held me so I wouldn't fall. Do you really want me to believe that you're helping me? What do you think I'm doing now? After all, I will always help you. Help you all? Yeah, sure. I sank onto the ground again and let out a heavy sigh. There's really nowhere for me to go in this condition. So when will your pioneers return? Soon, she answered vaguely. Okay, let's sit, let's wait. I've got nothing to lose anymore. Oh? Is this the wedding? Yep. The whole camp gathered at the square. Uliana was chasing Electronic in a vain attempt to take away his crumpled cardboard cosmonaut helmet. The scene of the man's first walk upon in open space was not without some amusing incidents. Genda's monument served as an improvised rocket for the cyberneticists, and Shurik managed to trip and fall from it at the most crucial moment. It is a good thing that the distance to the ground was significantly shorter than the near-Earth orbit, and it met him like in the song, with grass near home. "Stop running, you'll kill yourself for good," Olga was wailing. I'm not even sure what concerned her more in this situation, the cyberneticists or the image of the camp that had no accidents 365 days a year since the beginning of time. Xenia was standing near and tugging on my sleeve, but I was too carried away with spectacle and didn't notice right away. "So, what? Are you sure we should be doing this? You wanted this yourself." "I didn't want anything. You just suggested and I agreed. We've discussed this 100 times already, and you know full well that it's not for real." "Oh, so it's not for real, huh?" she said dreadfully. "That's not what I mean. We're just in this world. Don't forget it. In a couple of days everything will repeat and no one will remember this." "Yes, but I will." "So, who are you embarrassed by the most? Those around you or yourself?" Xenia blushed and said nothing. "Okay, go change already." Olga commanded us. "Ready?" Xenia nodded. 10 minutes later, a strange sight for a regular pioneer camp could be seen at the square. Oh, what am I saying? It was strange even for Sovyanok. And I felt strange too, standing in the middle of a crowd of pioneers in an old Soviet costume off someone else's back. Not a formal tailcoat, of course, but still better than shorts and short-sleeved shirt, whereas Xenia was appealed in the hastily cut semblance of a wedding dress. In another situation, I'd say she looks foolish, but not now. Now in this dress, to me, more beautiful than any attire from the pompous fashion shops. "So what scene are you playing now? I forgot," camp leader whispered into my ear. "Olga, what does it really matter already? Let's start." "Okay." Xenia was standing as red as a lobster, not knowing where to put her eyes. She seemed now to strongly want to look at me. "Everything will be all right," I said quietly. Miki was merrily smiling in the crowd of pioneers, as if this was her own wedding. A bit foolishly maybe, but sincerely. Lena was blushing as usual, but sometimes casting careful glances at us. Lisa's whole look was saying that she'd been dragged here against her will, and she would have been playing the guitar or just sleeping if only she could. Though Uliana was clearly thrilled with the whole spectacle, children don't need much to be happy. As for Slavia, she seemed to be really happy for us and smiled kindly. "Let's get this over with already. Looks like Anymore and Xenia will be embarrassed to death." "Okay, we're ready." I nodded towards the camp leader. Now I had to say what they usually say at weddings. Of course I didn't know the exact words and managed to safely forget everything I've prepared beforehand. "I promise," I started, my voice shaking, "in sickness and in oldness." No, that's not how it was. "What are you mumbling? We can't hear anything." Uliana merrily shouted. "Be quiet, you, or we'll put you in Xenia's place." The threat had an immediate effect and Uliana fell silent. Well, that's... Just a minute ago I could have sworn I was absolutely calm, and now I couldn't say a word. I could only guess what Xenia was feeling. gathered my courage. I promise to be with you for better and for worse, for richer and for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do us part. The pioneers, joyfully clamoring until now, stopped talking immediately. It got so quiet I could hear my heart beating furiously. Genya was still standing, her eyes dropped to the ground. Well, now you. She pumped air into her lungs and pattered. Agreed to marry you, promised to be with you for sickness and for poorer. Here. The crowd exploded with laughter. Though for me, Genya's words sounded quite serious. And get it over with already. And what about now you can kiss the bride? I asked with a playful tone. Genya's eyes sparkled, making it clear that the situation was good enough even without kisses. I guess she's right and we'll have time for that anyway. Good job, thanks everyone. Olga was shouting. Electronic came forward with the camera. He looked as if he would be much happier having a crowbar in his hand instead. A couple of shots to remember. Hell no, Genya bawled at him. Come on, for the family album. She hesitated a little, but gave a semblance of a smile after all. It all turned out as it should be, better than it should be, for the first time in all this time. Genya looked at me right in the eyes and smiled and said, yeah, I guess. I woke up when the day was already drawing to a close. The fever had abated and I found an injection mark on my right hand. Did the cat-eared one really help me? At first I couldn't even believe there's somebody here capable of a kind deed after all that has happened in the last few days. With some difficulty I got up and headed towards the camp. After all, I definitely have nothing to do in the forest and it doesn't look like it can get any worse. Time and again a thought was appearing in my head. I have to endure, I have to live through this week and then it'll be easier. I will recover physically and there will even be some time to recover mentally. Just don't despair, just don't give up, don't be like him. I'd rather die than live like that. Pioneers with backpacks, bags and parcels were scampering back and forth through the square. The camp leader was standing near Genda like a small monument, arms akimbo and shouting formidably. I froze on the spot, not knowing what to expect. This world is in continuous motion, it changes before my very eyes. Just yesterday they were ready to kill me, and what about today? Hey, Semyon, the camp leader shouted and looked at me intimidatingly. Who, me? Are you addressing me? Why aren't you packed up yet? Packed up? I'm ready to be packed off. Today's the last day of the session, did you forget again? Packing up, off you go. I didn't want to argue with her, I just didn't have the strength and I stopped being surprised a long time ago, so I just flung out. Is it okay that I look like this? And pointed towards my torn clothes and bruises all over me. What happened to you? The camp leader sincerely wondered. Were you running through the forest and fell? What the hell are you talking about? What forest? Why would I even need to run through the forest? Okay, it's not my business. We're leaving in half an hour. And if you're late again, you'll stay for another session. She smirked. Stay here for another session? No, this definitely lies outside of my plans. Anyways, a new chance to get out of here appeared, even if in such a dumb way. I slowly dragged myself towards the bus stop. The whole camp crowded in front of the bus. Everyone's waiting for the camp leader. After all, following rules contradicts her own rules. Oh, what happened to you? The pioneer from the infirmary inquired maternally. Are you alright? Need a bandage? Why stop at that? Offer me a splint. Must have fallen into a ditch and cried his eyes out. Sure, look who's talking. What if wolves got him? Only if the wolves were the local pioneers. I was just sitting quietly on the roadside, my head lowered into my hands. I didn't even want to think about what will happen tomorrow, whether I will get into a new loop or it will all end once and for all. Or maybe there's something else waiting for me ahead, something better? Alright, let's take a break. I need to go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back. Back. Making a lot of progress in this ending. It feels good. I've been slow on progress on this lately, and I kind of want to finish. I want to finish the game, the story, whatnot. I don't even remember if we've been in this cabin before. Like these pictures. When I woke up, Zhenya wasn't nearby. Must have gone to take care of some personal business. God, why does she need this whole Pioneer game? Especially on the wedding night. I stretched myself and yawned with pleasure. Alright. Oh well, at least I can surprise her. Pick some flowers in the forest. Not much of a gift, but I know she likes May lilies. I could never understand why women like flowers. How? I mean, they're pretty and they smell good. It's not rocket science. Isn't that enough? We can have deeper understanding as well. It's like watching something alive. I don't know. Why not nettles or hogweed then? Because they're not pretty and they don't smell nice. Those are plants too, and they are nice in their habitats, not pots or vases. So what does it matter if every time I gift a flower to Xenia, her face lit up with a bright smile? Yeah, what does it matter? Of course, it might not have been because of the flowers alone. With a bouquet in my hands, I filed into the library, loudly throwing the door open. Behind the librarian's table was sitting Elisa, looking gloomy and leafing through some magazine. Oh, the newlywed has shown up, she muttered, looking at me sullenly. Hey, where's Xenia? Dunno. Asked me to sit here for her and went somewhere herself. Oh? Well, yes, my Xenia can even persuade Elisa. Okay, then I'll... And somehow she said she wasn't glowing with happiness at all. Elisa said to my back. Where did Xenia go? Maybe she decided to make me a surprise gift too. No, surprises are not her thing. It must simply be time for breakfast. I ran to the canteen. The pioneers were merrily clamoring inside, the dishes were clattering, and the same merry manner. Even the usually gloomy lady cook looked unusually merry today. I noticed Slavia and walked up to her. Hi, have you seen Xenia? Slavia looked at me with surprise and then got embarrassed and turned her eyes away. I think she went to the bus stop. The bus stop? Why? I don't know. You better ask her yourself. You'll still make it if you hurry. To the bus stop? To the bus stop. In a minute I ran past the camp gates and saw Xenia standing at the road, her gaze directed somewhere far away to the horizon, past the plains and the forests, following the bright summer sun. You want children now. Strange expression was on her face, sadness, anticipation, and anguish mixed together, but at the same time Xenia looked very different. I didn't recognize her. No? She wants to leave. She wants to move forward, not be stuck in a rut. Better? No, I can't believe this. Even less than the fact that tomorrow I'll return. Oh. We're back in the past again. No, I can't believe this even less than the fact that tomorrow I'll return to the real world. Maybe it was better before. It seems like that pioneer was saying that I forgot a lot, but what exactly? Hey, I was looking for you. That sounded silly and my voice was trembling. I just had to say something, so I put on a fake smile and tried to talk in a friendly manner. What do you want? Xenia replied coldly. I woke up and you were gone, so... Xenia turned around with her eyes shining. I'm going, she said with a calm voice. Where? Home. But the buses don't come here. Buses? What the heck? They do. Here, I made this for you. I handed her a bouquet which instantly ended up on the ground. I don't need anything from you. Yesterday. I don't want to know you. I don't know what happened, but I'm sure it was all your fault. What was my fault? Everything. This stupid marriage. And what happened during the night. We agreed you wanted this yourself, remember? A couple of weeks ago? I didn't even know you a couple of weeks ago. Wait. What's going on? Yeah, it all started back then. Oh, it's flipped it. It has tricked me all along. Xenia was the past. Or? Was that supposed to be the Xenia ending, but he screwed it up somehow? Yeah, it all started back then, or continued, I don't care anymore. I decided that I could be happy with Xenia, but she disappeared, just as she appeared suddenly. Xenia, sitting not in the library, but at the canteen porch. It was so long ago. I lost my faith once. I stopped being human, but then I met her, and it almost seemed like life was giving me a second chance, albeit this strange. Oh, there's like cycles, like 1,000-year cycles here where he forgets. But then she was gone, and during the endless cycles I forgot everything. I went back to how I was before I first met her. I stopped being myself. Maybe he was right. What are you saying? We've known each other for... I don't even know how long we've known each other for. I don't know you and I don't want to know you. But wait, Suddenly weakness hit me and I dropped to my knees, just to avoid falling to my face. My ring felt very hot on my finger. I could feel the burning almost physically. No, this was her ending. This wasn't his ending, this was her ending. Here, take it. Xenia took something out of her pocket and threw it at me. I'm going for a walk. I twisted the thin engagement ring in my hands and started crying. I never cried like this before, not in this world, not in the previous one. Yeah, that's gotta be fucked up. And everything ended. Forever. I guess something human remained in me, so I decided to forget everything, so as not to go completely insane. But now all my memories were here. And with them came the pain. It wasn't that bad. It had slowly weakened through time. It was still tearing me apart. Almost as if I was being torn to pieces, and the only piece remaining was the one with my consciousness somehow in it. Not one, not half, only a sad conscience, an acceptable error in the perfect equation of this world. Don't be so sad, bro. Some pioneer was sitting next to me. You again. Who, me? What difference does it make? You, him, that one, this one, you all look alike. He didn't respond, he just giggled. Did you come here to mock me again? It would have been better if you killed me that time. But you remembered everything. I remembered, and it's even worse because of that. You're the one at fault here. Fault for what? For trying to stop you from leaving with cat-eared? I know that was you on the bus. There were still no emotions on the pioneer's face. Maybe it was, or it wasn't. What's the difference now? That means you managed to get out? And came back to mock me? Don't you do the same? Stop pushing those morals onto me, for God's sake. I was down on my knees and looking at Xenia, who was slowly getting further and further away. And there she went around the corner. I can't get her back. Anyway, I knew that this wasn't Xenia. My real Xenia disappeared yesterday. This was just a soulless doll that looked like her. But she looked just like her. The tale can't last forever. This world is a true hell, and I'm the demon. Demons can't ever reach true happiness. Just tell me one thing. I killed the silence. Why is everything like this? You had a chance from the very beginning, a choice. You could have done everything differently. Many did it right, different from how you and others alike did. Right? I mean, I don't like that word, but also in the context of the story, it's like a multiverse, right? It's all the Semians do different things and get different endings. That's the canon thing. And his ending is being a torturer. Like the all-knowing has split himself into many different splinters, right? That is what the interpretation that we did. Then this is just one of the ways to experience those experiences that the Prime wanted to experience. Like I'm guessing that makes sense. That if you're a Prime, like a godlike being, that you would want to like experience many different things, good and bad. Well, good and bad would lose its meaning, right? If you're all powerful, then those words doesn't make any sense anymore. Unless you splinter yourself. But from the grand point of things, you would want to experience it all, no? It's difficult to speculate, but I would have assumed, and that is the story as I have seen it here. Yeah, right. They all got out and now are living happily with their dolls in the real world. The dolls became real. It was creation, right? The dolls became real. That is what happened. Just what happened with Genya. Genya became real. She just left without you. No? I grinned. Do you think that your life is better? He clearly emphasized the word life. If you're the one that took Genya from me, rage was growing inside me and waited to jump on him to beat him to death. But I wasn't sure he existed in the physical world, but even then, what would change? You could have been happy with every other girl. That's the reason they're all here. I didn't expect such an answer. But none of them are real. The only real ones were you, were me, you, us all, Genya. That's only for you in your world. You know that there are many realities, and in every one of those you pick your own faith. Fate. You pick your own faith? Or fate? Is that a misspell? Maybe you pick your own faith. Maybe there was only one Semion, but this camp gave him multiple possibilities. Yes, exactly. Someone managed to get out and now lives happily, like you said. Someone stuck like you. Yeah. Can you tell me what this place is? Who are you? You can think of me as the camp leader. The pioneer gave a smile without any trace of mockery or irony and vanished. I felt a bit easier after hearing his words. The world was suddenly engulfed in fog, and bright flash appeared in front of me. I looked around and realized that the pioneers were gone as well as the bus. What, again? The gate creaked silently and I hid behind the pioneer's monument. Semion walked onto the bus stop, one of the Semions, but his facial expression was painfully familiar. I've forgotten long ago that I can look exactly like that. He stared at the road for some time and headed back into the camp. Don't trust him. Nice. Yeah, there is a cyclical nature to all of this. Because for this Semion, they've already left on the bus. But we're talking on the Semion that are living in the bus in the future. I said on an impulse. Who are you? Semyon looked surprised. Stop, don't come any closer. Alright, I'll stay here. This was the first Semyon ending, right? The bad ending was we just died, I think? I don't know. Alright, I'll stay here. Have you seen him? Talked to him? What are you even talking about? You know who? Yes. What did he tell you? Nothing really. Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you? And this is his memory. The Red Pioneer's memory. So, our Semyon, when we played the first good and bad ending, both of the Semyons we were talking to were the same people, just from different timelines. No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone, or more likely, he is alone, but you may meet many pioneers here who look like him. What about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from? You will understand. In time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit. The wind became really strong for a moment, and the same flash appeared before me. And again, in an instant, the bus and pioneers appeared once again. I don't know what I told him everything for. Thought it was the right thing to do. If only I remember what remorse and repentance were, then possibly that would have been what I'm feeling. Xenia said, a pioneer should always be ready. A familiar voice sounded like thunder in the midst of a clear sky, and a familiar thump on my back brought me out of the catatonic state I was in. Xenia was standing in front of me. I instantly knew that this was Xenia, not a doll. But how? Those were the only words I could whisper. I don't know, she smiled, but her voice was trembling. Back then, after the wedding, I woke up in a different world. I thought I'd lost you, and then there were so many loops that I nearly forgot. I'm sorry, I said quietly. Forgive me for everything. That was okay. Then he came and said that he could guide me to your world that you're in. I didn't believe it at first, but here I am. I jumped forward and hugged Xenia. Forgive me, I'd forgotten everything, forgotten you. I've done so many bad things to you. I don't believe it. I didn't hope for it. I'm sorry. Ugh, you're going to suffocate me. She freed herself from my arms. But now I'm here, so everything is okay, she said through her tears. How can you be so calm? Because I always knew we were going to be together. Xenia raised her hand, and on her finger I saw a ring that was woven out of May Lily. I lost mine, sorry. It's okay, we'll buy a new one, she smiled. Hey, hop onto the bus, you two, Olga was screaming discontentedly. The bus was peacefully bouncing over the bumps and slowly driving towards the district center, or wherever it was going, really. You know, I can't believe that everything will end. I've gone through so much in the last week. And once again, you got the most interesting parts, Xenia sulked. I don't think you'd like to exchange places with me. I can imagine, but it's still way more interesting than sitting in the library for days on end. You have a weird ideas about interesting things. Did you think about it? About what? What will happen next, tomorrow? We still need to meet somehow in the real world. Oh yeah, let me write your address down. Yeah, right, so you can send me a letter right now. I smiled. I'll memorize it, go ahead. We exchanged number and addresses. It's weird that we didn't have this idea earlier. I assume we never even hoped of getting out of this world. That we just didn't want to remind ourselves about our past lives. What do you think it'll be? Like the usual? We just fall asleep? Jenna clasped my hand and pressed her entire body against me. I hope so, but in the end, this isn't the worst thing. I'd say one of the better ones. Shania yawned and closed her eyes. Sweet dreams, see ya. I didn't want to say anything and just continued looking out of the window and the landscape that was flying by. The Soviona camp was left behind, and I will never return there. Yes, I was sure about that. But it will always be part of my life. I've changed there, changed multiple times compared to this time spent there, the mere 50-60 years that I have remaining in the world, or just a short moment. But I'll make sure to live them like a real human being. Yeah, you're probably bad, just as the pioneer said, Shania mumbled through her sleep. What? Nothing, just sleep already. He laughed and pinched me painfully. I wonder what everyone else felt in my place. The same loss of consciousness in the first moments, the feeling of anxiety, panic. Came back to my old apartment, but I didn't recognize any of it. Yes, it definitely feels like being in a house that you lived in so many years ago. Everything looks to be in the right place, but you don't remember anything. You just think that this is how it's supposed to be. I've already forgotten the day that I've disappeared from this world, and I'm not so sure about the year either. But it's winter outside, and that means that not much time has passed here. Yeah, I'm not 17 years old anymore, but I don't look my real age either. So it turns out everything went okay. My return didn't have an unexpected consequences. Shania. I rushed to the table and wrote down the address and phone number with a shaking hand. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to forget them, but it'd be better to have a backup anyway. Now what's next? How does this world works anyway? The laws are completely different here, none of which, to be honest, I've ever understood. Now, I'm like a newborn, forced to live an adult's life. Let's save that for later. For now, I need to find Shania. Someone rang the doorbell. Humans. Real humans, not pioneers. I've got to open the door, and what else can I do? I've finally returned, and I have to live in this world now. I slowly walked up to the door, turned the key in the lock, grabbed the handle, and froze. So, how long should I stay in the doorway for? I opened the door with a jerk and saw Shania. She looked just like she did in the camp, but how? Remember, I always arrived in the camp 1 week earlier than you, and I returned 1 week earlier. I forgot about Sovionic. I forgot about the real world. The only thing that mattered is we're together. Aww. I grabbed Shania and carried her into the room. So, were you just gonna stand around? Ah, sorry. Shania lightly jumped down onto the floor. Wait a bit. We need to do this right now. We might not have time for it later. She smiled and started digging through her purse. Give me your hand. I extended my arm to her and Shania put a ring on my finger. Oh, cute. Just a very basic one, like the one back in the camp. In the dim light of a dusty ceiling lamp, a golden ring was shining on her finger. I think that I should have bought the rings. Well, judging by the looks of your man cave, I didn't think you had the money for them. We laughed together sincerely. Real snow was slowly falling outside the window, white beautiful snow, the darkness of the nights, sliced by 1,000 upon thousands of the lights of the big city, which was singing with hundreds of voices, reminding us that we're still alive and still together. I gently moved my hand across touched Jenya's cheek. Warm, real. You won't disappear this time. You better believe it, you still owe me money for the rings. I hugged Jenya and kissed her like never before. And that was it, eh? We don't need an epilogue. We live happily ever after. It feels implied. That's interesting. I've been thinking that, like in the game itself, I've been comparing it to Twilight, right? But for little boys. None of the endings so far has really pulled my heart tugs, like in a love story kind of way. I'm not super into love stories, but I mean, they pull my heart tugs like any other love story. But this one did. There's the picture here. Some here as well. Yeah, it's going with the others. Just copies of this picture, I guess. And we're done. Oh yeah, we could have gotten all of these as well. The Semyon was a woman all along ending. So yeah, we're done. We are done. Ooh. All right. Exit. Yes, I do want to exit. For the final time. Would you recommend this game to other players? I mean, it depends on the player. I feel conflicted. I really want to say no. I mean, I enjoyed my time in it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend reading another book, a better book than this one, if I would recommend you spending your time. So I don't know if I would recommend it. I wish there was some middle ground. No, it dragged on for way too long. Like the whole structure of the thing. Started out with a mystery, and then we got the answer to the mystery, like 45 hours later, with most of the in-between time just being the simple stories, right? These stories. And these stories was like, I mean, they were enjoyable, I suppose, but they dragged on and on and on. Like, I liked the big meta story with the true ending. I really liked the true ending. Both of them, like either if I like the harem ending and the Yulia ending, both of them where we got the explanation to what was going on. I like the Yulia ending the most, where Semyon was a girl all along. Or a woman all along. Split personality, where he merged, where they merged. But it was like the road to that ending was way too long. And although all these individual stories dragged on and on and on, even with, skipping everything that you've seen before, it was still so much. I think I'm gonna say no. I am. Here we go. I am not really the target demographic for this visual novel. So I did quite and did enjoy it, but would not recommend it to people in my demographic. I was intrigued. Nope. How the fuck do you spell that? Intrigue. Is that how you spell it? Yeah, I was intrigued by the mystery. The start and did like the resolution bit. However, all the most of the stuff in the middle wasn't really connected to that mystery. And overstayed its welcome. Overstayed its welcome. That something like that. In the end. However, most of the stuff in the middle wasn't really connected to that mystery and overstayed welcome. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I think I got it for free. It's a free game, right? Yeah, that's good enough. And we uninstall it. Wonder if it was native. Let's go to the ProtonDB and see if it's here. I think it was native. Everlasting. Did I write about that? Yeah, it's native. That's what I thought. So, what time is it? I think I'm leaving for an early lunch, perhaps. I don't really know what to do with these rest 45 minutes until lunch. I finished BioShock and I finished Everlasting Summer, both in the same day. What do we do tomorrow? Tomorrow we start 2 completely new experiences. I'm thinking, what should I do tomorrow then? I don't feel like playing BioShock 2 straight away, like I thought I wouldn't feel like. I need to do something or other in between. If I remember, this Double Action Boogaloo is it's a shooting game, right? So since I've been playing a lot of shooty, so we try C9 if we can get that started tomorrow. Maybe I can try that out now, just see if it starts. I have no idea what this is. Just let's see what happens when we press the play button. Well, play, 3 minutes. Maybe I've tried this already, no? Physics engine setup, eh? Can just try and check this out. It did not launch. What about E9? It's borked. It doesn't work, they say. Crashes after pressing play in stream. Doesn't even show error. Errors shown if started in terminal, but I'm not competent to even know what they mean. Something about DirectX 12. I mean, that is something I can spend a little time doing. See if we can figure this out. Let's see if we can figure it out. So, fuck, how do we get the log again? Fuck, I haven't done this in a while. So, Steam Proton log command. Is it just as simple as I think it is? Set the launch options to Proton log 1 command, yeah. Properties. Wine debug, Proton beta, Proton log, or wine debug. Proton log equals to 1 command. There we go. All right, and it ends up. One thing that is good about this is that we have, yep, see we have nothing here, but when I do press play, it crashes soon. Here we go, that's the crash. Actually, let's make this a little bit bigger, and then we have, like, we get the Steam ID, right, from the log. It's a good way to get Steam ID. ID? No. Ah, never mind. So let's check it out. Let's actually put this on full screen. Yeah, this fucking error all the time. Yeah, this we can ignore. I'm pretty sure. LD, so object. Game overlay renderer. Yeah, LD preload cannot be rendered. This error always shows up. It's super annoying. I have no idea how to deal with it. Since it doesn't really doesn't affect a lot of stuff, so I don't know. The annoying bit is that we do search for error, right? And we get this. We get this error all over and over and over again. All right, so we did not find an error like that. What about error? What about warning? No? What is this? Asks Colgate in Untap. This is Vim. I'm just trying to see if I can start this game, C9. It just crashes on start, so I got my hands on the error log. So what I'm doing right now is just looking around in the error log. Wait, how long is it? It's 600 lines. Well, that's not very long. We can just scroll through that. Because there's something in here, right? It's got to be telling us what is going wrong. Well, 600 lines is quite a bit to look through. What about just, what is this? Deferred? What is this? Why an unhandled page fault on read access to something at address, something thread zero, starting debugger. Wonder if this is the crash? Oh, something. Returned 1. Fuck. Because returning 1 is usually a bad thing, right? Yeah, we tried to load all of these things and it worked, I guess. Now then we're tracing something else. Call stack handlers. Handler at, that just a memory location probably. Returned 1. Get context thread. I have no idea what this means. Unhandled exceptions. Page fault on read access in 32-bit code. Oh wait, there's some 32-bit library that I'm missing perhaps. By the way, nice to meet you. See you again, Colgate in on tap. How are you feeling today? I think if you just showed up, you missed the ending of Everlasting Summer. I started a bit earlier on it today. Played through the thing. It'll be up on YouTube tonight, I think. Maybe I can do it now before lunch after I've looked this up. I can put it up on YouTube. I mean, I'm not even sure that this is the error, right? It's not very helpful. Module P deferred. I have no idea what that means. Just looking for something that sticks out and just... It would be nice if it just changed color to like purple or whatever and just error like red, like big in the middle of the screen, just shouting, "This is the error. This is what's broken." Most of this is like French to me still. What about if we go from the bottom up? Like assuming. Skipping destruction. Fork without execute. I don't know what that means. And this seems fucked up, right? Is that a memory address? And if that is the case, what the fuck would you give me a memory address like this? This seems... Yeah. Null, or something like that. Oh, what's this? Unloaded module. Why though? RTL restore context returning. I mean, dump kinda... I feel like dump is what you do when you're done, right? This is after the error. I'm guessing. Somebody in the website said something about DirectX being a problem, but I don't. We could just try to do it with the glorious egg roll run. Did Genia ending answer your questions? Asked Colgate Tap. I mean, I feel that the true endings, both of them together, answered most of my questions when I just let them sink in. So during this playthrough, I did get a little bit more. I don't even remember what questions I had after the ending, but you know, after just playing through it, having some thoughts, things going through and stuff like that. So the Genia ending helped me just mulling it over the other endings. And I mean, there were some minor things, like we understood, like the Semyon good and bad ending, what happened in those endings. We got those answers, those questions answered. I didn't even remember that I had those questions when we did get them answered, but yeah, I did get like a... I'm actually a little bit disappointed that he did get his happy ending. It's like, for me, like in my head canon, after the prime Semyon, right? The god or whatever, I got the feeling that some splinters, like if we see all the Semyons and everybody as splinters from this prime, this god or whatever, then my assumption was that this god would want to have bad experiences and good experiences. But I mean, I can't blame him for being a sucker for happy endings. I mean, who isn't a sucker for happy endings? It felt like the Genia ending was the best happy ending. And what happened to the other Semyons in the bus is Yulia ending. Yeah, but he didn't get on the bus. Yeah, what happened to them? I mean, I would have assumed that they just didn't, like the ones they just left without a girl, without a woman. I'm guessing all of them had their own, the one who followed along, who left with the Semyon bus in the Yulia ending, that the ones who left, they just went back to their life, and maybe something has changed with them. I'm guessing that they did not have identical lives, because that would be a waste of time, if that makes sense. But that's just my assumption, right? We didn't get any answer about that, if I remember. What happened to all of them? But I would assume they got out. Yeah, they did get out. He said so, right? And he was the only one who stayed behind, he said. He thought he was. Which makes the Prime Semyon, well, the god or whatever, not being all-powerful. Which is what I thought it was, an all-powerful being in that universe or whatever. Colgate on top says, yeah, the Red Pioneer was only one left. That actually makes sense because of the, in the end, like, the Prime just came and gave them their happy ending. In the end. Because the Red Pioneer screwed up. Or maybe Genya screwed up. I'm not quite sure why they got split up in the first place. I didn't understand that. My hypothesis was that she really wanted out, and Red Semyon was just, the Red Pioneer was just happy staying there with her, and she wanted out. So that is why they became split apart. That would be my interpretation. Then so Red Semyon needed to have another lesson in learn what he really wanted to make his choice to go and live a real life. Which actually makes sense because Red Semyon was so afraid of, like, when stuff started changing, right, in the Red Semyon, in the Genya ending, he couldn't deal. He couldn't deal with it. He just got scared. And he didn't want stuff to change. He believed that he wanted to, but he had to deal with the uncertainty. He was happy with the certainty. When he knew what everything was gonna do and stuff like that. He went back to his ways. Never really gotten... He did the same with Genya, I suppose. Like the wedding that he had was like, oh, I want to stay here with you forever. That is not what she wanted. Yeah, that makes sense. To me, I guess. Yeah, I think I'm giving up here. I mean, I can try random stuff to get it to work. But this document isn't helping me at all. It's not helping me at all. So let's remove that. Well, actually, let's keep it there for now. Let's try and... this is the latest Glorious Egg Roll I have. I think this is the one. I don't even know what's different between Glorious Egg Roll. This is an old one. But let's try it, just to see what happens. I'm not good enough with wine tricks either. To fiddle around with it. Oh. Nope, still didn't work. This is where I like Lutris way better, right? Because Lutris makes everything here much easier. Like, what if I want to try to play with D9 VK, for example? Proton D9VK. I think that is what it's called. Let's try that one. Let's not force use that, but instead let's try this. We don't need a log anymore, so we skip that, but we try to use D9VK. Colgate InnoTab says it was our Semyon who tracked down Zhenya and helped the Red Pioneer and Zhenya escape. Wait. That is not the interpretation I had at all. I had the feeling it was Prime Semyon. How would... Like, our Semyon got out, right? Which one of our Semyons? That's gotta be the... That's not the Julia ending. Well, it's the harem ending then. Semyon from... Oh no, was it Semyon from Semyon Good ending? Like the first ending? He came back after Julia ending. Like, why? That doesn't make sense to me. That didn't work either. Actually, let's... what is that called again? I want to do always... What is it called? Like proton... No... Async... equal to 1, I think. And I copy that. I thought I copied that, but there we go. No, oops. No. Sync. I think it's 1. Don't remember. Maybe this is supposed to be 0 then. Nope, did not start either. It's like there's just like guesses, right? There's just guesswork to see if we're starting to get this to work. Let's just assume that I can't get it to work. Like, where did you get that from, Colgate InnoTab, that our Semyon came back after the Julia ending? The harem ending, right? Because it's not after Julia ending. Julia ending was that name color. Like in the Julia ending, he was a woman, right? That was the Julia ending. The harem ending, he could get back. The name colors is Colgate InnoTab. Are you sure? I thought, because it was like white or grayish color. Fuck, I don't remember that. I'll take your word for it then. That he came back and helped. Yeah, so in the harem ending, they all started to understand what was going on. And of course, like they were talking about him, the mad one, right? They, like in the harem ending, they all started understanding what the fuck just happened, right? They get a greater, deeper understanding, so he could go back and feel sorry for that guy. Like, feel sympathy for him for being such a failure. Colgate says, I'm not sure, but that is how I interpreted it. I mean, but I feel that it was vague enough. I mean, the color is kind of a giveaway, right? But both, I see both as valid interpretations. They don't really change my mind either way. It could have been either Prime Semyon or like Harem Semyon was the one coming closest to Prime Semyon, right? Well, they gained, him and the women gained the deepest understanding of what was going on. So they could understand what was happening to the Red Pioneer and help him out. Yeah, Yulia Semyon discussed with Prime Semyon. Yes, I agree with that. I'm just saying that the Harem Semyon is the one like closest to in understanding. Yulia Semyon didn't necessarily understand. Yulia Semyon just had a meeting with God and merged with Yulia or whoever you picked, right? But they woke up and had their own real life thing. They just woke up and had their life. That's my interpretation of that ending, right? They had the woman Semyon ending, so to speak. While the harem ending, the women all showed up and started talking about they figured it out. There was no talk in the Yulia ending about figuring stuff out. It was just the not split personality is a bad word for it, but the conjoined personalities. Yeah, there we go. The conjoined personalities. Proton Steam flags. Can we get a list of the flags? What the different flags do? Is there a wiki? Non-OpenGL games. Maybe this is it? No, this is not it. Colgate Innotime says Julia Simon also endowed, I don't know what that means, capabilities as a dreamweaver, as he was able to bring any girl to real life. Julia Semyon, bring any girl to real life. Where did you get that? This is why Colgate Innotap thinks that Julia Semyon is the most capable with messing with Sovionok. Since he became a dream weaver. In the end, he had a choice. Well, in all the endings, he had a choice. And to be fair, Julia ending, it's no longer a he, it's a she, right? She had a choice in that ending. That is why I feel that she wouldn't she didn't go back because it was a she, right? And it was not she, Semyon, who came to the rescue. That is what I was thinking. But on the other hand, if you say if there's two conjoined personalities, then the Semyon personality could be the one going back and helping. And that would also explain why actual Julia, showed up helping Red Semyon as well. If we say that like they were dream weaving together. So why she showed up with her cat ears and helping him out. Red Semyon, that would make sense if we're looking at it as dream weaving capabilities, which would make sense because they touched God or whatever and gained something more. Yeah, I see that as a possibility as well. Either way, they're all Colgate in on tap says in the end he had a choice. He was still he. Nah, I don't agree with that at all. Like when the choice is made, she is already lying in the bed. The only thing that changes is the hair color. Right? When we get the list of choices, she is already lying in the bed. She makes the choice. We get to see the hair. Right? That's the two pictures. The two pictures side to side. It's like we have Semyon lying in the bed. Everything is white, so we don't really see what's going on. We don't really see the boobs, right? And we don't see the hair. Then we get to make the choice. The boobs get filled in, the hair gets filled in. Colgate in on tab says there are 3 good mornings. I only think 2 of them are Semyon's. Wait, so in the Julia ending, I didn't try all of them. But no, like yeah, the hair color changed. I didn't try all of them. I just tried 3 of them, I think. But all 3 of them, Semyon was a woman with a different hair color. That's the good mornings, right? I think only 2 of them are Semyons. I don't quite understand what you mean there, what you're referring to. Hmm. Can we just get, like, if I put the word list in here, does that help? Maybe ProtonDB has... Help! Troubleshooting FAQ? Here we go. Let's try this one. See what happens. If your game doesn't start or crash, then your game cannot be run with that. All right. We've got logs. Yeah. I don't know what wine tricks. Like, since I didn't find anything in this log here, I wouldn't know what to look for in wine tricks. There are too many. There are too many things. That doesn't help me. I mean, I want a list for all the possible proton settings. Like documentation. Why is that so difficult to find? What if we just search for documentation? I mean, there are probably somewhere in here. Here we go. Runtime config options. Oh, what do we have? Log dir, dump debug commands. Let's try this then, I suppose. Properties. Let's try different things, see if anything happens. Girl Semyon says first good morning, then says good morning, and finally Semyon says good morning. Oh. But there is only one person, right? Are you saying that there are two people in the room? We are in the mind of two people in the room, you say? Oh, fuck, I don't remember. I did think about that. Like, there were 3 good mornings, yeah? But only 2 of them are Semyons. So whose is the third? Like, 2 of them is the Semyon, right? But who's the third? And is that relevant? Well, the second, like, actual body person in there. Yeah, like, who would that be? It is the girl that Semyon brought to real life. But you could pick Julia. That's what I did, right? So that would mean that doesn't add up, right? Because if Semyon merged with someone, that would mean if, like I did, like the first pick that I did, is that you got the woman in the bed is Semyon merged with Julia, and then the third, like the other people, would also be Semyon. Like the whole point of that ending was that they merged, right? So he can't merge with Julia and bring Julia back. Right? Or am I misunderstanding something? I don't think it's about merging. Yes, it was. They said it straight out. Said straight out. I'm always with you in here. Like there were two personalities inside the one person. They were talking about it quite a bit even. Yeah, merging with Julia. Yeah, that's what they were talking about, merging with Julia, and that is what I thought. In my mind, it happened like that. Yeah, yeah. Now I remember. That's what I thought about the 3 good mornings. No, but it was the 3 good mornings throws the whole thing off because like Semyon and Julia, and then he makes a choice, like who, like Semyon wasn't really Semyon, but Semyon merged with, like it was a woman, like all along. It was like, let's say that we picked Lena, whatever. We got the color of the hair right, but the physique did look like, it looked like Semyon, but as if Semyon was a woman, because they all were the same, like the same woman. So if we say Julia was always gonna be there, then you're right. But why was Julia a choice then? It kind of doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, with the 3 voices, either way, it feels like Julia shouldn't have been a voice. Maybe it wasn't a choice. Maybe I remember that wrongly. No, I'm pretty sure that I picked Julia in my playthrough. I'm pretty sure. Hmm. Alright, I learned where to find this list anyway. Not a very... Ah, here we go. Proton used. I think I tried this already, but this is the last thing I'll try. Last thing I'll try. Yeah, no. So let's leave our C9. Add my report. Next. Colgate InnoTab thinks there are 2 Julias. If you pick Julia, Julia was still at Soviano Camp 2 after she merged with Semyon. Omnipresence was never a big problem for her. Oh, right. So picking Julia was... Yeah, now that you say that, omnipresence was never a big problem for her. She could be like both of them. Hello, Node Runner. Nice to see you again. I really liked our discussion yesterday. The thing, what do we call? Collaboration, competition, and combat. I really liked that. That stuck in my head and mulled over it for the rest of the day. It was interesting indeed. I mean, I want to say Tinker Report, but it's like I didn't really do any tinkering, did I? I was able to install. We were not able to do this. Tried many different Proton settings. To no avail. Also could not find anything worth while in the Proton log. That's fine. This game doesn't work. Yep, it doesn't work. I've been trying for an hour now. And I tried many different things, different Proton settings to no avail. Also, I couldn't find anything worthwhile in the log itself. Couldn't find anything. So, and I'm not good enough, like, since I have nothing to look for, I don't know where to, like, what to do in Winetricks. Like, there's too many things that I don't understand in Winetricks, right? All those DLLs that you can download, I don't know what they are, most of them, so I just felt like I don't even want to bother. It's too much work. The game doesn't look like a lot of fun, so I'll just skip it. It's not worth it. I'm happy with leaving an extra borked review. Like there's a limit to what I will do. Spent an hour. It looks awful. Yeah. Well, it looks pretty, I suppose. But yeah, no. Let's uninstall. I tried the Bioshock 1 remastered version as well. And it seemed to be working just fine. Did get shitty frame rate. But Bioshock 2, people on ProtonDB recommended Bioshock 2 remastered over the regular one, so I'm downloading that now. Tomorrow I'll probably try this. Or this. Or something else. I don't quite know what I'll do tomorrow. But I do know I'm going to start to burn in memory tomorrow. That's going to be fun. I finished Everlasting Summer. It was a good time. Yeah, I like the Julia omnipresence thing, that she was 2 of the hellos. That would make sense. And still, but then still, I still feel that, yeah, I'm still happy with my interpretation then, that there were not 2 people in the room. It was just Semyon and 3 personalities within his head. Yep. Yeah, because I was thinking about the red Semyon ending as well, that Slavia showed up suddenly and tried to help him out. That makes sense. Like, if we take the Dreamwalker approach, that canon would be that he picked Slavia, right, in the merging ending, because Julia showed up helping, Slavia showed up helping, and Semyon showed up helping, leading them together again. Zhenya and whatever. But yeah, kind of fun. I like the other one because the other one works as well, because then Slavia could have helped Red Semyon as well, like from the harem ending. They could have joined up there and helped because what's it called? They would want to rescue Zhenya as well. Well, of course, that the merged person would want to rescue Zhenya as well, of course. Check the Steam reviews for Bioshock 2 Remastered. I think I did, didn't I? Like someone specifically said when I checked Bioshock 2 in here, someone specifically said, no, play the remastered version, it is better. Bioshock 2 Remastered has the same crashing issue as Bioshock 1 Remastered. Yeah, I think I saw that as well. Like some crashing issues. They said that Bioshock 2 Normal had worse. That it was worse. So I'm gonna try the remastered version and we'll learn. If it doesn't work, I'll download the other one, right? I think something here is... Yep. All of these things. Where are we at? Actually, I can... Let's exit Steam, actually. And Lena was crazy against this Colgate Unitime. Well, Lena was always crazy. So that doesn't say anything about anything, not to me at least. Not to me at least. Nodrunner says that Bioshock 2 yeah, exactly. The problem is the issue doesn't manifest itself until hours into the game, leading to great frustration and regret. Yeah, but alright, so let me see here. I want to look for... We want to kill this. This we want to kill. Kill it with fire. Are we good? No? What is it? Like, okay, let's kill this. Is that enough? No. We want to kill it with fire. Kill it with fire. It's broken. Yeah, great frustration and regret does not sound like a good time. So I'll check the reviews, but I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Like, look at this. It's just trying to kill it with fire, but it's just not helping. So, alright, so let's kill you. What about you? What about this? Can we kill this? Fucking all this stuff is just... That's another reason why I like Lutris so much. Because you have this lovely button, just kill all the wine processes. You don't have to... Ah, finally. The fans are stopping. I think I killed everything now. Yeah, we're good. Finally. Simeon mishearing her name as Rena kind of foreshadowed her yandery nature. I don't remember. I've heard the gendery thing before, but I don't know what it is. Around a third of the way through a playthrough, I began to experience fatal crashes that occurred randomly and frequently. Crashes, one for each 3 save attempts, and managed to corrupt my saves last time. Beyond abysmal crashes, so... Let me see. Actually, I don't need this anymore, so we can close that out. Like it's mixed all. Yeah. That was recently. Then we have, like if we check here, BioShock. Like if we look at just BioShock 2, silver. BioShock 2 remastered, just this like gold. And most people say it runs perfectly after tweaks. Like if we look here. Significant performance problems. Like most people, like someone who says it's good, it runs mostly well, but has a few issues. Someone says it's excellent, but most people here, like this was most closely ago. I'm pretty sure someone like said even played the other one. And they just run with these, right? This is one someone has crashing at start, it doesn't help. Most other people say that as long as you disable the F-Sync, E-Sync, off you go. Yeah, same as BioShock remasters. Stability occasionally. These are very old report. It's a month ago. That's not old. 4 months ago. 5 months ago. 6 months ago. That's not very old. Not thinking about how old the game is. This is not a review for BioShock 2. This is for the remaster that crashed every 45 minutes for me. 3 crashes in the first hours of gameplay. I had to redo complete. I mean, if that happens, like if I get crashes all the time, then that's fine. Then we just try the other thing. If we go like halfway in and crash and corrupt saves, I mean that would suck, right? But it feels like both of them are kind of fucked up, right? Yeah, both of them are reporting issues. But this here convinced me. Just that this actually happens. Like we've got, it's only 40, but 74, and this gets gold and this gets silver. It's just like, this has gotten so much better reviews in ProtonDB, which is more trustworthy than just the Steam reviews, right? Because Steam reviews are just overall, this is specifically for Linux, right? But we'll see. Hopefully, we won't regret our decision. Hopefully, everything will just work. Everything will just work just fine for us. Colgate on tap says, have you tried play on Linux? I did some time ago. It feels like might as well just run on Lutris. Though Lutris is so useful, so helpful. I don't know why I would use play on Linux instead of. But I did try play on Linux a while ago, but I don't. Yeah. But then I tried Lutris and then I didn't look back. Now I'm just playing around in here, which is fine, I suppose. But yeah, I have stuff to do today. I'm gonna hang out with my nephew this afternoon, so I need to go and have my lunch before I leave, because I've got to go in 45 minutes, drive and pick him up from school. Yes. Oh fuck, I forgot to stop